Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Buffalo
Giants podcast.
Podcast. Hey, our intro worked this time. But hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Week 14 preview and predictions. We're going to start the show this week with the obviously keep four, cut four. So, Brian, I do have a couple questions for you.
Hit me.
This week we're going to do cornerbacks. They are all retired and or not currently playing on a team.
Okay.
They haven't 100% announced their retirement, but most are retired. The first one I got for you is Aqib Talib.
Okay. Really good cornerback with the Patriots
And Broncos.
and Broncos before that. True. True. Was an all pro for a long time.
Yep. Keep in mind, everyone on this list has a Super Bowl at least.
Yeah, but I believe he has more than one, if I'm not mistaken. He played with the Patriots for a couple of years.
He may.
He was also just at an all pro level for so long. I'm going to go keep on Aqib Talib.
We're going to keep Talib. Okay. Give me 1 second. Oh. My computer's being stupid. Hold on 1 second. All right. So, the next one for you is Richard Sherman.
Really good player. Won Super Bowl. Part of the Legion of Boom. Yeah, obviously
Three-time
has
All-Pro.
correct. Obviously had a very memorable play against Crabtree in the NFC Championship game. Um, some memorable quotes. Talk some smack to Brady during his time as well. I'm gonna go drop on Richard Sherman or cut on Richard Sherman. Yeah, I think he's a very good player, but I don't think he was at the caliber of Aqib Talib for as long as Talib was there. And I'm gonna probably hold Talib as kind of like my barometer for everyone else going forward. So I'm gonna go cut just because he's under that line.
All right. So the next one is controversial, and this is why they're not all retired, but they're currently retired. Darius Slay.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go cut on Darius Slay. Very good player yet again. All pro as well. Won Super Bowl with the Eagles last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's quite as good as Talib for as long as Talib was good. I imagine you're gonna hit me with a Darrell Revis on this list at some point. So I think I'm gonna find two guys that you're gonna say that are probably better than Darius Slay. So I'm gonna go cut.
All right. The next guy is Stephon Gilmore.
Okay, we're
The
going
Gilly
down.
Lock.
We're going down in quality, in my opinion, from the last two that you rattled off there. Obviously a very good player. But
Really?
yeah, for me, I think Talib is.
I think he's better
better.
than Slay and Sherman. 4-time first team All Pro.
I agree with Sherman. Darius Slay remains to be seen if he has anything left, as you were just saying. He was quite good with the Lions, just that the Lions were not very good themselves for the beginning part of his career there. Again, I think Talib.
Who?
Darius Slay.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. For a second I thought you were talking about Gilmore. I'm like, he went to Buffalo,
No,
didn't
no.
to Minnesota, to Indy.
You know, I'm starting to wonder whether you're going to name off people worse than this. off the rest of the list, and that I should grab Gilmore in this spot. Because
I
he's
can't tell you that there are. I feel like these are all like if okay. I feel like if all of these players were available in a draft, you would want all of them on your team.
Well, yeah, but you only have so many spots, right? And that's the whole
Yep.
point of keeping work up for. So, uh,
Everyone on this list is a first team All Pro and a Super Bowl champion at least one time.
But the biggest thing is how long were they at that level, right? Like that's the real
Gilly had a 6-year run.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to keep him at this point because again I don't know who you're gonna say. I'm gonna have to leave room for like a Darrelle Revis, but so I'll keep Stephon Gilmore.
The next one is Rondé Barber.
Really good player. There were just so many good players on that defense that he gets a little bit covered up. I feel like because you have your John Lynches and stuff like that.
Warren Zapps.
Yeah, Warren Sapp is the other guy I was trying to think of.
Simeon Rice.
Yeah. There were just so many guys in the defense who were very, very good.
Defense was freaking nasty.
Yeah.
But he was the captain.
He was.
Mostly because Warren Zapp was an immature person his whole life.
Very fair.
This is the hardest list I've ever made.
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like I just have to make a decision now. I'm going to go ahead and cut Barber.
Now, if I gave you back Gilmore and Rondé, would you have kept Rondé over Gilmore?
I'd probably have to watch some tape to be honest with you. It's
Fair
so
enough.
It's that close for me.
They're basically the same player from different generations.
And that's the thing is that I think Stephon Gilmore was having to cover better players, but I just don't know how many better players because he was also in a weaker technically division. I would think.
That's fair.
Like Rondé Barber at least had to cover Steve Smith with the Panthers every couple of times a year.
Yeah, I mean the best wide receiver that Gilmore had to cover was either Randy Moss or it's probably the only wide receiver. Like, because he was in the AFC East 95% of his career. But moving on, we will go to Charles Woodson.
Keep. Former Michigan Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
I love me some Charles Woodson. Not only in obviously the NFL with the Packers, mostly Raiders towards the end of his career. He won a Heisman in college at Michigan. Played on both sides of the ball.
Still the only defensive player to ever do that, right?
I believe so. But he played both. No, because you have Travis Hunter last year as well.
Oh yeah. Look at him to screw it all up. All right. Yeah. The next two are the hardest two that you're going to have to face.
Okay.
The next one is Ty Law.
Oh, yeah. See, this is a name I thought may be in this list. I'm going to cut just to see who you have left because I think they may be better.
Well, The next one is the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, to play this position. Jarrell Anthony Rivas.
I told you that I thought that this guy was going to be on this list. I left the spot to keep him, and lo and behold, here he is. So he will be
Say
my
the only play,
fourth and final keep.
the only place I say you screwed up was keeping Gilmore over Ty Law.
I would have taken that back if I could have, but yeah,
You did a lot better than I thought you would. Apparently, you don't have love for Sherman, so now I'm starting to learn your brain a little better. Next week, next time I'll stump you. Maybe
we shall see about that.
You got me with the Brady thing because you pulled at my heartstrings of Joshua Patrick Allen.
I figured I had given you a like intro one already. It was time to indoctrinate you into the game.
Yes. All right. So what do you got for me this week, brother?
All right. So our next game is how many are better. This is the game where one of us comes up with a player, and then the other will say how many they think they can name currently in the league right now this season that have been better than this player. And if the other person can name more, they will say so. We will keep naming numbers until the other says that they can't name anymore. And then the person who has named the last number will have to give the names to reach that number. So our player this week is going to be Mark Andrews.
Oh, you son of a bitch. $12. I can name 12 players better than him.
12. Interesting. That's an unreasonably high number, I think.
I think he's trash.
I'm interested to see who you think is better. I hate passing so early, but I think I'm gonna have to make you name 12 players better than Mark Andrews at the tight end position for sure.
Okay. I'm taking Dalton Kincaid over him. I'm taking Tyler Warren over him. I'm taking Travis Kelce over him. I'm taking Garcon the second, the Chargers guy. What is that for?
Gadsden?
Yeah.
You're going to take Oronde Gadsden over Mark Andrews?
Yeah. I don't like Mark Andrews.
Okay, but can we look at the stats here? Because, like, I understand you don't like Andrews. What I don't understand is a guy that has 2 games of production is better than Andrews.
Fine. Okay. I will take it back. I'm taking Brock Bowers, though.
Okay.
5. I'm taking Hunter Henry over him. He's been amazing this season.
Okay.
I'm taking Trey McBride. That's 7.
Yep.
I'm taking Ferguson. That's 9.
It's iffy, but I'll give it to you for the sake of argument.
That's 9. I'm taking Tucker Kraft pre-injury. I think he would have been tight end 1 this entire season.
I think that's a bit of a reach, no, because the guy's not healthy.
But if you look at his production and what it would have been, he is clearly beating Mark Andrews. The guy's got 6 touchdowns.
But if we go back to the Saquon Barkley one, we didn't name all of the guys on IR that looked better than Saquon Barkley this season when they were playing, no?
All right. Well, I'm at 9. I'm going to get it either way. I'm taking Dallas Goedert. He's been awesome.
He has not been awesome. Have you seen his stat lines recently? Mark Andrews has actually been better than
the last 2 games have been rough.
Mark Andrews has been better than him over the last 6 weeks.
Okay, George Kittle.
I will give you George Kittle, even though he was hurt.
Zach
Even though he was
Ertz.
hurt.
I'm
Zach
taking
Ertz,
Zach
I
Ertz.
am not going to grant you Zach Ertz. Have you seen Zach Ertz's stat line? He had
Well,
one
I
good
guess
week last week.
I don't know. He's had like 5 good games this year.
Have you
Well,
seen
then
Mark Andrews' stats this year?
no, I guess not.
You should. You should take a look.
25. He's got 332 yards and 5 touchdowns. I'm getting Zach Ertz. I know he's doing better than that.
Okay. Okay.
Zach Ertz has got 500 yards and 4 touchdowns and 50 receptions.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm thinking of Mark Andrews' production as being more spread out, so he's more reliable than Ertz has been because Ertz has not had the same quarterbacks week on week and isn't necessarily playing healthy like
Okay,
Andrews
then
has week
neither is
over
Mark
week.
Andrews. He
Yes,
had
but
4
Mark
games
Andrews
without Lamar.
does it in different ways. Like if you remember, he had the tush push play that was designed for him. They span out for a 35-yard touchdown. They give him the ball in other ways, not necessarily like Zach Ertz, just as a security
All right,
blanket.
that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. So, are you going to give him to me or not?
I'll give him to you for the sake of argument.
All right, that's 11. Jawan Johnson is my 12th and final pick. $500. He's been the number 2 guy in the entire system.
Okay, okay, I will give that to you. I don't know if all of those technically qualify, but I will give it to you for the sake of argument. For example, Dalton Kincaid, I don't think he's done enough in the time that he's played this year to merit being better than Mark Andrews, but we shall
I don't
see.
know. He's wide receiver 1 on the team still.
I don't know what that means, right? Because Josh Allen and James Cook rushing the ball are better than all of the passing options, right? So all right, welcome back. We are now going to do another fun segment where we do something a little quirky. So today, what we have for you is we have beer prices across all of the NFL stadiums. And James, I'm going to have you try and guess who who is the fifth lowest beer price in the entire league. Do you think you could do this?
5th lowest. I thought we were going to start from the top. Okay, 5th
No,
lowest.
no. We're gonna make this a game so that you have to actually guess.
Uh,
I'm gonna give you 3 tries. I'll give you a
I'm
hint
going
after each incorrect guess, and we'll see
to.
if
Okay.
you can guess.
5th lowest. I'm going to go with poverty. I'm going to go Tennessee Titans.
That is incorrect.
Was I close?
So the Tennessee Titans, they are actually above the NFL average. They are 7, 11. They're in 12th on the list.
Jesus. I thought they would be cheap with how shitty they are.
You would have thought, but not so.
All right, that's my first hint.
Your hint is that this is an AFC. Yes, it's an AFC team.
Well, I have 15 more options. These are 16-ounce ones, right? These aren't big tall boys.
I would assume so. Yes.
Okay, so plastic cup beers. AFC team. We are going to go with the Washington Commanders.
So
No, not Washington Commanders. Nope. Baltimore Ravens. My bad.
I was gonna say that is not an AFC team. At least you have guessed an AFC team. Unfortunately, you have not you have not guessed the correct AFC team. So I'm gonna have to give you another hint here. This is a Midwestern AFC team.
So like Kansas City area.
That region of the country, north to south. Yes.
Well, seeing as how your face didn't give it away that I was right, I'm not going to go with them. All right. Who's over there? That wouldn't be the Broncos then. They're more west. Who else is the hell is over there? It's like a barren zone almost. Fuck it, Kansas City.
It is not Kansas City. So Kansas City is below the NFL average. They are actually 10th lowest.
That was close.
And then your prior guess of the Ravens is actually a very good guess. The Ravens are the 8th lowest.
So who was it?
It is the Indianapolis Colts.
That was a horrible hint. That is not Midwestern. That is
What do you
basically
mean it's not Midwestern?
It's 2 states over from the East Coast.
It's in the Big Ten, which is the Midwest Conference.
That means nothing to me. I don't watch college football.
You're gonna tell me Indianapolis is not in the Midwest?
No.
What would
No.
you deem
Midwest is fucking Primble. Or whatever the hell that little elf thing is called.
I'm sorry. I'm used to Indianapolis. You know, all Indiana, Minnesota, all of those. You know,
That's
Ohio.
the North.
All of that's the Midwest. All of that is the Midwest.
Comment section, please tell this boy he does not know geography. This guy's crazy.
You know, like Nebraska is probably, I would say, as far as west.
Indianapolis is an AFC South team.
Yeah, but have you seen where Indianapolis is on a map?
Yeah, I've been there before.
It's I would say it's not the most southern place I've ever been in my life.
No. I mean, I don't even know why the Cowboys are in the NFC East, so I mean, it's not perfect logic.
But money is the reason.
I could tell you who number 1 is.
Oh yeah?
The Dirty Birds.
Why don't you tell us, James, who is number 1?
The Eagles.
That is correct. No shocker. Super Bowl champions gouging their fans. No wonder why they were booing so loudly when they got beat by the Bears on Black Friday.
I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure they would hang their coach if they could because they're crazy people.
Also, their offensive coordinator because they're crazy people.
They egged his house this week.
They did.
Psychos. All right. What else do you want me to guess at?
That's all I got for you this week. I think we'll save some of the tank for some weeks in the future, and that way we can keep the series rolling. So,
and we're jumping back into the fantasy starts and sits for week 14. So I'll go first. For my quarterback, I'm selecting Jordan Love. He's going up against the Chicago Bears. I think he'll have himself a good day.
Very good. I'm going to go ahead and go with Matthew Stafford going up against the Cardinals on the road. Big bounce back game from him after losing to the Panthers last week.
It's a good shout. I was almost about to yell at you and say he's on the Lions, so whoops. It's been 5 years. Get over it. And then for running backs, I took Quinshawn Junkins. And he plays the Tennessee Titans, so I think he'll have a great day. The offense seems to run through him anyways, so if he doesn't have a good day, nobody does, kind of thing. And he's definitely a touchdown merchant for points, so he always has that to fall back on.
Yeah, my running back start of the week is going to be R.J. Harvey. Broncos playing the Raiders. Raiders just gave up a number of rushing yards and a touchdown to Kamani Vidal. I believe it was 125 or so. Kamani Vidal, I believe it was right around 175 or so on the game between Vidal and the backup there. I want to believe it was Jarrett Jackson Patterson, something like that. Um, and then Harvey also big touchdown vulture on this team, both passing and rushing as well. So, I believe he had 2 on the ground last week. So, look for him to get some more cleanup stuff in this one.
Oh yeah, he's a touchdown merchant for sure. I enjoy him. I'm gonna take Keenan Allen as my wide receiver start of the week. He's got to have a bounce back game sooner or later, and he's playing Eagles, and he's wide receiver 3. Their cornerback 3 isn't very good anymore since they've had some injuries in their backfield. So I think Keenan Allen finally has himself a game.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Michael Wilson of the Arizona Cardinals. It looks very unlikely that Marvin Harrison is going to play this week. He may also already be ruled out from what I last saw and what we were talking about yesterday. So whenever he's out, that's usually rocket fuel for him and his fantasy output when it comes to Jacoby Brissett throwing them the football there in Arizona. So like Michael Wilson this week.
Yeah, and Greg Dortch is out as well, so even more passes towards him. And then tight end, I went with Mason Taylor. He is playing the Miami Dolphins. They give up a lot of points to tight ends. He's probably their best target right now with all the injuries. I know Adonius Mitchell had a good game last week, but that's been very few and far between for him. And he kind of drops the ball a lot. So I'm hoping Mason Taylor has a bounce back game and can get some points on the board.
Yeah, well, mine is actually in that same game. Mine's going to be Darren Waller of the Miami Dolphins facing the New York Jets.
That's good.
Darren Waller came back last week, had a kind of a modest game, but was up there in terms of the passing yardage totals for everyone in the team. So I look for him to continue to take a step forward in a game that they should be able to get some red zone opportunities, and he's usually a big contributor in the red zone as well, or just being a general security blanket for Tua and helping them move the ball and keep possession on their offensive drive. So, like Darren Waller this week.
For my defensive for the week, I went with the Cleveland Browns. I just think that Cam Ward's going to have his hands full with that pass rush and just even getting the ball out. And then you can't run on Cleveland either. And Tennessee's running backs are questionable at best. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very fun day for the Cleveland Browns defense.
Very good. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. I think they've been playing some unbelievable football lately, playing on a pretty hot streak. Been playing for Mike McDaniel really ever since they got rid of that GM there midseason. So, and they've got the Jets on the road. The Jets just had a win last week against the Falcons, so I think they're due for probably losses from here on out through the rest of the season, based on how good or bad the football team is. So I like the Dolphins. Again, the defense has been playing pretty well as well over these past few weeks. So I look for that to continue to roll, like the Dolphins as the start of the week for defense.
For my kicker start of the week, I went with old Mr. Reliable, Chris Boswell. They play the Ravens this week, so probably going to be a lot of field goals in that game. Usually it's a field goal battle when these two teams play. Um, for some reason, they stop each other's offenses very well. It's like the only game plan for each other all season. So, hoping for an 18-point game from Chris Boswell again.
Hear that? I'm going to go with Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing in Atlanta this week. Atlanta's got one of the shoddiest and most inconsistent defenses in the league. They, at this point, are not playing for anything. Not only are they not great from a record standpoint, but they don't have their first round pick. In addition to that, this year or this upcoming draft year. So I like the Seahawks to score a bunch of points in this game. Certainly maybe even garbage time, not even getting into the red zone or not being able to convert while in the red zone. So, Jason Myers this week as my kicker.
Okay, moving on over to the sits of the week. I went with QB Lamar Jackson. He struggles playing Pittsburgh for the most part. Has a losing. It's one of the few teams he has a very bad record against. He's only beaten Pittsburgh twice in the regular season and once in the playoffs in his entire career. For some reason, Pittsburgh usually gets his number at least once or twice a season, with them being rivals. But yeah, I'm going with Lamar. Plus, he's been kind of playing horrible for the last month.
Yes, very good. I'm also going to go with the high profile guy. I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the Houston Texans at home this week. I know the Houston Texans had a couple of injuries in their game last week, some linebackers in particular. But I believe that the Texans have one of the most monstrous defenses in the league. We saw what they did against your Bills in prime time in that Thursday night game. We saw that they know how to get after the quarterback, and they know how to contain mobile quarterbacks. So, and they also know how to shut down receivers. So I don't think the Rashee Rices and the Travis Kelce's, while they've certainly played their role in Chiefs wins and staying competitive this season, I don't think that's going to be a reliable thing. I think also weather is going to be a big thing in this game. It's going to be very cold and snowy over much of the country on Sunday. I think that will be a present factor in the Bills game as well, which is why I like James Cook. If we were doing more high-profile guys, I would do James Cook at running back, for example, because I think that's going to be a huge opportunity for him to run the ball a bunch in the snow, and
Yeah.
potentially circumvent a lot of potential turnovers or slips and things of that nature. So, I like, or I'm sorry, I would sit Patrick Mahomes this week. I would start a guy like a Matt Stafford or Sam Darnold.
Yeah. So I agree with that. And he's even in a worse position, or actually, he's in the same position that Josh Allen was. Both his starting tackles are out this week. So it's going, well, actually, let me rephrase that. Both of our left tackles weren't out when we played, or both of our tackles weren't out in that game. They went out in that game, and then Dawkins came back, but he had a concussion, and it was misdiagnosed. So yeah, he's got both both his left tackle and right tackle out. So yeah, I wouldn't start Mahomes either. It could be a bloodbath. It might not be because it's Mahomes. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's a scary defense for sure. So for my wide receiver sit of the week, I went with DK Metcalf. He's been butt cheeks since like week 4. Man, I feel really good that I declined 3 trades for him a couple weeks ago in a row. I was like, nah, I don't think it's going to happen this year with him. And those were all redraft leagues. But yeah, DK Metcalf can't get anything going. That they barely throw to wide receivers in Pittsburgh. They just, no, thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to circle back to running back in 1 second, but My wide receiver sit of the week is Nico Collins. Again, that same matchup I was just talking about. Texans visiting the Chiefs. The Chiefs have a good pass defense. And so I think they're going to do their best to try and hold Nico Collins down. I think that if the Texans do find any success passing, that it's going to be role player guys like Christian Kirk stepping up, potentially a Jalen Noel or Jaden Higgins continuing to continue to put up his like 70-ish yards a game on 4-ish receptions. Um, so I look for it to be more of that, and then more Woody Marks, Nick Chubb running the ball. Again, weather probably playing a factor in that as well, given the fact we're talking about Kansas City when it's probably going to be snowy. So my sit of the week, Nico Collins. Again, I would start a guy like Michael Wilson with the target volume that he should be getting on a much better game script and matchup out there with the Cardinals.
Yeah, sorry for skipping over running back. I went with DeAndre Swift. I just don't like his matchup with Green Bay. They're really good at stopping the run. And DeAndre Swift hasn't had really back-to-back good games all season. He's been every other game kind of player. So I imagine Kyle will try to pick up the slack, but I just don't see it for him this week in the cards.
Yeah, and then my running back sit of the week is going to be Omarion Hampton. This is just mostly the fact that this is his first game back, probably off of IR. I expect him to probably be very healthy and fresh. But I also expect the way that Kamani Badal has played, especially last week, with the amount of success that he had and how efficient that he's been, that he's going to at least have a 50% share of the workload there. And I think that's really going to prevent Omarion Hampton from being able to get a lot of momentum and get going in his first game back. So I'm sitting him based on the fact that I don't think that he's going to be able to get anywhere near about 20 touches, which is what I think that he would need to be able to get truly back to like RB1 or RB2 type of numbers. I think he's going to be much more of a flex this week.
Yeah, even Harbaugh said he's on a pitch count if he does play. So that's a safe shout right there for sure. Granted, if he pops one, might not be, but you never know. I agree though.
He is playing if he does play as well.
True. So for tight end, I went with Travis Kelce. I saw what tight ends could do against the Texans already this season in a couple games. They shut down Warren. They shut down Knox. They shut down Strange. They've been playing tight ends so well this season of the games that I've just seen from them that I think that Travis Kelce won't have a very fun day.
Yeah, no, I hear that. My tight end sit of the week is going to be Kyle Pitts. This is just mostly based on the fact that Darnell Mooney, kind of continues to not be able to show that he's kind of that guy, and that means that they've got a number of kind of wide receivers out there, and that makes him kind of a big target so long as Drake London is not the healthiest. He's been dealing with a week-to-week injury, so even if he does play this week, we'll see how healthy he is. We'll see if he's able to, even draw like a full decoy if actually produce when he does come back, if that is in fact this week. So I think there's just going to be a lot of tension given to Kyle Pitts. We're talking about the Seattle Seahawks that they're playing, which is one of the best defenses. Ernest Jones, I just watched him have 2 interceptions, one for a long touchdown last week. So, I think that that's one of the toughest matchups that you could have, in terms of being a tight end and the ability to focus on a particular guy in that offense. So I don't like Kyle Pitts this week.
I don't blame you there. They don't have any, he's their number one weapon this week, and they don't allow points from tight ends either. They don't allow points in general, almost, it feels like. Only team with shutouts this year.
Exactly.
But yeah, so moving on over to defenses, I took the Colts. I don't think they're going to have a horrible game by any means necessary. I just think that it's going to be a high scoring game. So you might only get 2 points from them this week, maybe 4 if you're at best, in my opinion.
Fair. My sit of the week for the defense is going to be Atlanta. We just spoke about this. They're playing Seattle, so I think there's a very high likelihood that they could be not staying on the field very much on offense on some of their drives. And when that does happen, I think that they're going to get burned pretty good. Jackson Smith and Jigba just had a down week last week. I think that's going to make it's going to light a fire under him and Sam Darnold as well. And probably give him a pretty good spot for a bounce back. I also think that they're going to do their best to try and get that run game continuing to go with both Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. The Falcons just lost a game to the Jets last week. So that goes to show you kind of the level that team is playing at, both in terms of the amount of points that they're going to give up to bad teams. They're now going to be playing a good team here. So you can only imagine what their prime should do.
Absolutely. And then for kicker, I went with Daniel Carlson just because I don't like him. And I have a vendetta against him. He's costed me multiple matchups this season.
Yes, I know that your personal vendetta is long, and growing with
Weekly.
Daniel Carlson there. Mine.
I don't even have a choice in that league. I can only have one kicker. All the other 31 kickers are on other teams.
This is fair. My kicker sit of the week is going to be Will Lutz of the Denver Broncos. I just think that they're going to have pretty good red zone efficiency. I think that they're going to try and make an example of the Raiders here. I think they're going to try and get their offense right. Between Bo Nix, between R.J. Harvey kind of stepping in for J.K. Dobbins, whatever role McLaughlin and Batty need to fill, and what that looks like. I think that we saw Evan Ingram kind of break out a little bit last week. I look for that to continue on it, and I look for them to try and get that going as much as possible. Really, you have Max Crosby over there for the Raiders, but he hasn't necessarily been playing up to the level that we're used to from him the last few weeks there. So, he did have a couple of things last week, but within the last, I would say 4 or 5 games, not what we normally expect from him. So and in addition to that, I just think that the Broncos are going to have the ball a ton, and I think that they're going to be trying to run clock a lot as well. I could also see them being up in this game, and Sean Payton being Sean Payton, potentially doing things like going for it on 4th downs, things like that, because it doesn't matter. At this point, they're really just trying to tune up for the playoffs and tune up for some of these division matchups that they have coming up, given the fact that they're the Chargers, namely, that are the most important. So, Willets, I think, should have a number of points, but I don't think that he's going to have more than a guy like my start of the week, Jason Myers. So welcome back. We are going to be going through the Week 14 matchups. I'm going to be starting with the away teams, and then James is going to walk us through the home. We've already had the Cowboys and Lions this week, so we'll recap that at the end of this week. But we're going to start with the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. We've got the Titans at Browns as our first game here. My goodness, I've got the Titans here. The Titans have unfortunately not shown us very much in recent weeks. It's kind of been an avoid like the plague situation, unfortunately, for really everyone in this offense, fantasy-wise. They haven't looked very good in terms of what they've been able to do offensively or defensively, for that matter. The defensive aspect is a lot more of a product of the offense not being able to do very much, the defense being on the field a lot. There is a lot of talent on that side of the ball, but they haven't gotten the chance to show how competitive they can really be. I look for that to continue to happen in this matchup on the road in Cleveland. We talked about a little bit about the weather in some of our fantasy starts and sits. I think that plays a factor. I think that Cam Ward is really the best part of that team at the moment, even though he doesn't really have the ability to get the balls to everyone consistently. And I think that that's going to be hampered by the weather. I look for Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears to struggle when relied upon to try and pick up yards against that defensive front. And I think Myles Garrett is going to have a field day in the snow with that Titans offensive line and Cam Ward back there. I look for him to probably have a couple more sacks and continue on the pace that he's been on this season. So I've got the Browns in this one. Again, the Titans, haven't really played very well of late. Not a lot of reason to believe, that this one is going to be a win for them. And that they're going to be. I imagine this is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a 13-6 type of a game. I do think that the Titans could score some points. I do think they could get more than 3 points that they had last week, for example. But I certainly don't think that they have what's necessary, and I certainly do think that they could give up a pick six or a strip sack fumble return for a touchdown. Something like that is certainly possible in this type of matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that far down on the Browns. I think they can put up touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins has been very good this year since he's come back from his off-season issues. I actually somewhat believe in Shedeur Sanders and Harold Vanaken. Don't really believe in their wide receivers, but their running backs can catch the ball very well. So I also agree with the Myles Garrett take. I literally said 2 weeks ago when I looked at the schedule for him, because I've been paying attention to Myles Garrett because I've been starting him a lot in fantasy and drafting him early in a lot of I've drafted him a lot since he's been like going nuclear every week. Been drafting him a lot, and I had this one circled, and I'm like, get Myles Garrett at all costs. I believe he's going to have at least 4 sacks in this game. I think he's going to eat. I think he's going to break the all-time record. I'm really sorry for you as a Giants fan, but Myles Garrett's just, to me, he's miles above most of the players I've seen in my adult life. He's amazing. I really wish he came to Buffalo this offseason and didn't stay with the Browns. Oh my God. I'd be so happy.
Yeah,
but
it would be a very different outlook on the season there and the next few years.
Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day. Could have drafted him, Could have. But we didn't. Anywho, well, actually, we really couldn't have drafted him. He went pick 1, but in my world, we could have picked him. You're doing the away teams first, so go ahead.
So I just went with the Titans there. Was there anything else you wanted to add with the Browns?
Quinshon Judkins should have a good game. Shedeur should have a decent game, and Harold Vanaken, and then Myles Garrett. Yeah, I mean, we're doing this fast this week. It's already 2 weeks.
You got it. So next up, Seahawks at Falcons. Obviously, like the Seahawks in this one, if you heard the fantasy start sits, Seahawks been playing very, very well. Really takes a good team like the Rams to beat them. And the Falcons are not that. The Falcons are the complete opposite of that. I think the Seahawks, this is like a great matchup for their defense. I think they're going to be able to stop Bijan from being able to go absolutely nuclear. And I think that they're going to be able to not necessarily have to respect the passing attack all that much. I think they're going to be able to shut Kyle Pitts down. I look for them to win this one pretty comfortably. I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 points when all said and done.
Yeah, so I have the Seahawks to talk about. I have the Falcons.
Correct.
No. Yeah, I have the Falcons. Bijan Robinson, he's really good at football, but it's not going to be enough. Kyle Pitts is going to be double covered all game. Darnell Mooney, who knows which version of him shows up. Ray McLeod is off the team now. I can't remember even who wide receiver 2 over there is right now. I want to say it's Kadero Hodge.
David Sills is who they've really been using. It's Kadero Hodge is also on that team though. Yes.
And then Tyler Algier, the vulture himself. The defense has not played up to what they have been at the start of the season, so they've slowed down a lot there. Things look about as good as they did with Michael Penix, with Kirk Cousins at this point, besides that one game that Atlanta had against New England. It's been miserable. I just think it won't get better till they clear house of the coach. I think the coach is awful. I think the Seahawks have this game over by halftime potentially, or at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, completely agree. I'll just end with like I was saying in the fantasy start sit. Look for this to be potentially a big bounce back game for Jackson Smith and Jigba,
Yeah.
and expect the running backs to continue to put up right around 10 points apiece, if not more, for Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet as well. But moving on, the next game is Colts at Jaguars. I have the Colts in this one. I look for Jonathan Taylor to have a big game in this one. The Jaguars have been very good against the run all season, but Jonathan Taylor has kind of had kind of normal-ish games the last two games, and has otherwise been on an MVP pace all season long. I look for him to try and restate that in a huge must-win game for the Colts on the road in Jacksonville against a division opponent. You know, this is a big divisional game for them in terms of winning their division, but also, if the Texans do also contend for that division as well, you could be talking about seeding in the AFC as well, potentially who does not make the playoffs. So I like Jonathan Taylor to have a big game here. We also, know about a fractured fibula for Daniel Jones that he sustained a couple of weeks ago. So I look for them to be trying to run the ball at Jonathan Taylor a bunch in this one. And obviously, I expect very little vulturing of Daniel Jones in the sense of QB sneaks or toe pushes in that regard, given his injury. So all of that just spells good things for Jonathan Taylor. I look for Alec Pierce to also have a good game in this one. Basically, Daniel Jones showed us last week that despite the injury, he can still throw the ball, and Pierce did have a very productive game. It was a little bit more of the same for Pittman and Downs in terms of not very much for each. Pittman more so than Downs, but I look for the big thing is that Sauce Gardner did pick up an injury last week. I don't believe he's going to be available for this one, and that's going to spell some problems likely if Brian Thomas Jr. can do anything. They still do have Kenny Moore and guys like that to try and be able to scheme and plan for guys like Jacoby Myers, who had a very good game last week. But they don't have DeForest Buckner for the rest of the year, for example. Travis Etienne had a bad week last week. I think he may be primed for a bounce back as well. But I'm going to go with the Colts in this one. I think that they've dropped a number of games recently, and they absolutely have to win this one in order to stay in it. So I think that they're going to steal one on the road and get this win over the Jaguars.
Well, I disagree. I think the Jaguars are going to win because the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville in 14 years. But that's not the only reason I think they're going to win. I think that Trevor Lawrence and Jacoby and Parker and the other guy, Washington, are going to have some big games. I don't know if Brian Thomas will do anything. I don't know if he's even realized football season started yet. And then I think Trevor and Tootin are going to run all over them with the defensive line with all the injuries that they have. Their secondary is still really good even without Sauce Gardner. Like, I know that they supposedly struggle to stopping the run that it just looks bad, I think. When people, because, they've been ahead so much, they're getting thrown on so much more than they're getting ran on, you know what I mean? So I think that's just that's a numbers perspective where everybody looks at it like that, where, yeah, they traded for Sauce Gardner, but they already had they had one really good corner and one really good safety in Kenny Moore. So, I mean, it's kind of like that for me. But as far as it goes with the Jaguars, I just think they're just the hotter team of the two. They've looked good multiple weeks in a row. They've been consistent. I'm going to stick with the Jags. But at the end of the day, I don't care who wins either way because they're both fun teams to watch. But yeah, that's my take. And then defensively, I do think that they can make Daniel Jones make mistakes and throw interceptions.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Commanders at Vikings. I've got the Commanders in this one. The Commanders, I think that there's a lot of reason to believe that they can win this game. They've got Jaden Daniels coming back. Terry McLaurin looked good last week. Deebo Samuel, had kind of the first average week in a while for him. But that just means that they've got kind of a plethora of options rocking with Terry McLaurin healthy. Zach Ertz looked really good last week as well. Really the only big question mark for this team is that running game. Obviously, that should improve with Jaden Daniels being healthy enough to play. But you did have Chris Rodriguez doing some damage and kind of reclaiming or putting his claim down for the running back one spot the last couple of weeks. So they are playing the Vikings. Vikings with that Brian Flores defense, typically very good against the run this year. Been a bit softer against the pass lately. I look for those two wide receivers in Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin to be able to do a bunch. On the opposite side of the ball for the Vikings, their offense has not played very well at all. This is going to be a J.J. McCarthy game. We've talked at length about J.J. McCarthy and how bad he has looked in some of the games that he has played, how young he is, and I believe this will be his sixth start. Given the fact that he's in his second year, about to finish his second year. A lot of that, I think, tilts in the Commanders' fashion as well. So I look for the Commanders to pull this one out on the road to try and have any chance of remaining within the division for the NFC East.
So I get the pleasure of talking about the Vikings. All right, I'm ready to move on. There's nothing to talk about. Justin Jefferson's soul has been destroyed. It's not a fun place to be right now. I'm excited to see J.J. McCarthy back starting over Max. I'll give him that. I do think the defense can slow down the Commanders, though, with with Jaden Daniels coming back. That injury looked really significant. I can't believe he's back already. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays. But I do think the Vikings could win this game. I think that the Commanders had a big game last week, so I could see almost a letdown here. I would have kept rolling with Marcus Mariota for the rest of the season personally, just to keep Jaden Daniels healthy. There's no way you're winning the division or making the playoffs unless Philly completely collapses. There's no way. But yeah, defensively, Vikings have Xavier Rhodes. It's really the only amazing standout player I can think of that they've had this season on their defense. I know their players in general, but he's the only one worth thinking about starting in fantasy football. I have Justin Jefferson benched on almost every team.
Yeah.
The only one I don't is in a 32 league where I don't have much of a choice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I would start the running backs there at this point. I'm certainly not happy if I have to be starting Jordy Addison or Justin Jefferson.
No, and Aaron Jones is out this week. Jordan Mason has been like he's a good player, don't get me wrong. I just think that the offensive line in Minnesota is terrible. I think that's why he's struggling so much this year. There really hasn't been neither running back's really been very successful unless going out for passes. The running game has been abysmal in there. So yeah, but yeah, we'll skip that game. It's Bills Bengals. So it's Saints Buccaneers, Brent.
Yes. So next up, I've got the Saints. They're at Tampa Bay this week. Saints played a pretty competitive game. A couple of weeks ago, against I want to say it was the Falcons, and lost that one late. Their defense continues to play, I would say, admirably. Their run defense in particular is pretty good. So I wouldn't be surprised if they held Bucky Irving to a pretty modest game here. But where they kind of are great against the run, they're not so great against the pass. And I think this pass game is about to start to ascend here for the Tampa Bay Bucks. You're talking about Baker Mayfield getting healthier. You got guys like on the opposite side there, like Godwin, Egbuka, going to be starting this week. I look for them to probably have too much, unfortunately, just be playing against the opposite side of the ball. I'm not sure if Kamara is starting for them this week. That may be so he's declared out. So you're talking about Devin Neal. Devin Neal probably will have a decent fantasy day in this one, given the fact that he's going to get like all of the carries there for the most part, and he is somewhat reliable and used in the passing game as well. But that is one of the better run defenses. They haven't necessarily played like it, but that's a lot of it come down to schedule. For the Bucks, they've played a lot of very tough games recently, and the Eagles and the Rams, etc. So, I think that they're gonna start to come back to reality and rise towards the top of the pack over the next few weeks. They have very soft matchups. One being the Saints here. They've got the Carolina Panthers twice in there as well, and then they've got, I believe, the Miami Dolphins as the fourth of those matchups over these last 4 weeks. So they've got 4 very winnable matchups against 4 very, I would call it beatable offenses. I just look for the Saints to struggle in this one. Again, it is in Tampa Bay as well. I think the Bucks get this one. Although I think the Saints, I wouldn't be surprised if the big calling card and takeaway is that they're able to stop Bucky Irving and keep him to around like 70-ish yards with no touchdown.
So yeah, I got the Bucks here. So as far as they go, I think it's just going to be a big passing game for Mbuka and Godwin and Otten and Bucky Irving catching passes. I mean, he's more of a catching back than a running back. He's pretty much this new era Alvin Kamara at this point. That's how I view him. You don't know what he's going to do. I definitely think he's a better pass catcher than he is a running back, which I'm okay with. I mean, if you want to be like Christian McCaffrey, get your 1,000 yards basically rushing the ball and have almost another 100 or another 1,000 catching the ball, I do not care. I love it. But yeah, defensively, I think Vita Vea is going to have himself a day finally. That offensive line on the Saints has been getting shredded this last couple of weeks with injuries. I think Vita finally has his first multiple sack game this season. And then I think Servika Dennis, I think he's going to have another big game. He's been awesome the last couple of weeks. I don't think Sean Tucker or Rachaad White are even worth even looking at anymore. I would drop them. And then one thing I do want to say on the Saints, Jesus, what's his name? I had it a second ago and it went away. What's their number one's name again? It's completely gone.
Chris Olave?
Thank you. He is playing this week. Correct. It's official.
Yeah.
He was questionable until about 4 hours ago. So we got that kind of breaking-ish news. But yeah, Chris Olave should be good to go this week. And we can move on to the Steelers at Ravens. All right, we got to do this rapid fire. I'm getting way too tired.
Okay, all right. So next up, Steelers Ravens. So I've got the Ravens in this one. It's a must win for both teams. Um, Steelers, I believe they're going to be able to run the ball pretty effectively in this one. The big question is though is are they going to stick to that? They haven't proven to me that they have and will, and so I believe that the Ravens do pull this one out. I think a lot of that revolves around Lamar Jackson playing well, which he hasn't done recently. And if he doesn't play well, Derrick Henry being able and being given the opportunity to run the ball well, he's been efficient, but hasn't been necessarily given the carries to win games recently. So I've got the Ravens winning this one at home.
I have the Steelers. There's not much to talk about. I think the Steelers are going to win. I think it's just going to be a turnover by the Ravens that makes the difference. I think, like I said, this is going to be a field goal game. Neither offense has been good for almost a month, and the Ravens have not shown the ability to keep running the ball, and I just don't get it. They should be a run first team no matter what in general. Not that Lamar can't throw the ball. It's just, Lamar's biggest strength is his legs. Derrick Henry's their second best player on their team normally. That's where I'm at with them. Steelers wise though, no one can catch a ball besides a tight end. They refuse to use Roman Wilson or Calvin Austin anymore. DK Metcalf has fallen off a cliff. The running backs haven't been able to run the ball in 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know if it's just the team has already lost the locker room, but I do think they're going to get a big win here and get things back on track. But I'm ready to move on to the Dolphins and Jets.
Yeah, so Dolphins at Jets. I've got the Dolphins in this one. Dolphins have been playing some pretty good football and winning a bunch of games of late. I look for them to continue to do that at the Jets here. The Jets won a game last week. Again, I've kind of said in my fantasy start set, I think that means that they're due to win or lose all, if not most, of their games from here on out. But especially starting this week, I think that they fade back to earth a little bit. So I've got the Dolphins in this one. I would say comfortably, probably by 10ish points. Look for Devon Achane to continue to have a great set of games in this one.
Oh yeah, he'll go nuclear if no one else does. But I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to take the Jets in this game. I think that they've been playing better football than Miami, even though they've been playing good football. I think the Jets have been the most improved teams since their bye week. They're 2-1 in their last couple games. They're buying into Aaron Glenn. They've been so much better since they traded off Williams and Sauce. Tyrod Taylor has been a much better quarterback than Justin Fields with his arm, at least. Obviously, Justin Fields has better legs. I still think they need to incorporate a package or two where they use Justin Fields' legs. But other than that, I'm going with the Jets by a score of 24-21. I just think the Jets are playing really good. What is it? Broncos Raiders?
Yep. So I've got the Broncos at Raiders. Broncos should have a ton of sacks in this one. Raiders' offensive line in pass situations has been one of the worst in all of the league. They should be passing the ball a lot and behind in this game a bunch. And the Broncos have an unbelievable defense. Patrick Surtain coming back from injury a couple weeks ago. They got Singleton back as well, I believe, from testicular cancer as well. Yep. So, they're looking to get healthy on the defensive side of the ball and be even better than they've been. I would say that the offense is looking to continue to take a step forward after scoring 27 points last week on the road at Washington, which was a lot better than they have been doing. They need to continue to do that if they're going to be a championship team and make a playoff push this season. So I look for them to try and start getting right and continue that momentum on offense and then continue to play great defense and really put the beat down on Geno Smith in this one. Go ahead on those Raiders.
The Raiders suck. Geno Smith is to blame for everything. Actually, no. Daniel Carlson is. I don't like you, Daniel. As far as wide receivers go, I like Trey Tucker in this. Not in this game. I don't think they're going to do anything on offense that isn't through Brock Bowers. Max Crosby has played good in 2 games this year, coming off his best game of the season last week. I don't think he'll do anything against that Broncos offensive line. I think it's either going to be a 6-3 game because the Broncos want to be funny, or the Broncos are going to blow them out. I'm leaning more towards the 6-3 game because that's just the way the Broncos season's been.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I've got Rams at Cardinals. I like the Rams in this one. They lost the Panthers last week away. Kind of got beat up in that game. They kind of got showed up. Scheme wise in that game. That doesn't happen very often. And I think they, Matt Stafford as well was on an MVP base. Really kind of got brought back down to earth. I believe he had gone 8 games or so without an interception, threw 2 and lost a fumble in that game against the Panthers last week. So I look for them to get right in Arizona. Devontae Adams is questionable with the hamstring injury. I'd say that and Kyren Williams also being questionable are probably the only things that don't make me absolutely thrilled about this at the current moment. But Blake Corum did look good when he came in for Kyren Williams in that Panthers game, and then in addition to that, you have Puka Nacua, playing for the Rams there if Devontae Adams isn't 100%. We saw a number of guys step up between tight ends as well as Smith as well last week for the Rams. So I think they are going to have plenty to win this game. They're going to play plenty good enough defense to be able to hold Brissett. We know at this point that Benson won't play in this game. That means that he'll be on IR for the rest of the season. That's a pretty big note for the Cardinals offense and what that's going to look like for the rest of the season there. So, but I've got the Rams in this one. Again, I think this will be kind of comfortable, probably in the 10-point margin kind of range.
Yeah, so I have the Cardinals. The official outs for them are obviously Trey Benson, Amari DiMercato, Marvin Harrison Jr., Greg Dortch, Walter Nolan III, L.J. Collar, and Mac Melton and Duron Taylor Dempson. So they are down bad. As long as Trey Benson and Mr. Wilson can get open, they should be able to score some points. But even though this is a rivalry game, I think this is potentially like a 14-point loss for the Cardinals. They were super healthy a couple weeks ago on defense, and their defense is just max clustering injuries. Unfortunately for them, I feel like the Arizona offense runs better without Marvin Harrison there. So, that part's good for them, but they really have no running backs left. All they have is Bam Knight that I can think of. I'm sure they called some people up, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do with them. But Bam Knight's the only one that can really run the ball. DiMercato is the receiving back, so it's gonna be more rough for Jacoby. But as much as I believe in the Cardinals, I can't pick them this week. Unfortunately for them. Los Angeles should get back to their winning ways. I'm sure they have the bad taste in their mouth from that last loss to the Panthers. They could go out there and just go ham on them. Yeah. Let's move on to Bears-Packers, my friend.
Yeah, so I've got Bears at the Packers. Bears have been very, very hot. They started 1-2, but they've won, I believe, 9 of 10 since that.
Yep.
And they are first seed in the NFC. coming into this week. Putting that on the line against the Packers, not only for their division but for the NFC seeding, and that number one seed. I really like the Bears, but they're down Rome Odunze in this one. You mentioned the inconsistency of DeAndre Swift. He is coming off a great game. So is Kyle Monangai in that win in Philly against the Eagles. I'm a little bit worried that they played their A game against the Eagles, and we may see a bit of a down performance because they got up so much for that last game. At Lambeau. So taking it on the road again this week, but at Lambeau against a division foe. This is also Micah Parsons meeting Caleb Williams in this division for the first time. I think that the Bears are unfortunately going to get beat in this one. I think Jordan Love has impressed, with what he's been able to do with his receiving corps, and being able to, for example, have 4 touchdowns last week. So I think that the Bears, I think that they're going to struggle. I think that they're not going to be able to run the ball as effectively as they have been able to against some of these teams in recent weeks. Again, they're down Roman Dunze in this one, so maybe you look for Luther Burden and DJ Moore to maybe have elevated performances in this one. Again, we are talking about Lambeau. We are talking about weather potentially being a factor in this one, and that could make Chicago more one-dimensional. That would only give Green Bay even more of an advantage. I would believe so. I will say Chicago's defense is very good, has played very well this season. So I expect if it is a ground game battle because of snow, that Josh Jacobs won't run all over this Bears team. However, I do believe that Jordan Love will be able to find something over the course of the game. Maybe that's a splash play to a Christian Watson, over the top like he's been able to find of late. Maybe that's dinking and dumping to guys like Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, guys that he's kind of just able to find and be able to make plays for him in critical situations. So I look for them to be able to continue to do that. Again, it is going to be at home. They have already dropped a home game to Carolina already this year, so I look for the Packers to win this one, and the Bears to kind of have a little bit of a chink in that armor and a halt in that momentum.
Bear up. Bears are going to win this game. They're going to win. Caleb's going to carry them to this win. I think Kyle Monangai will have a good game. I don't think Swift is. I think Luther Burden's going to have a breakout game with Rome being down. DJ Moore, he's hot and cold, but I think that's just him and Caleb don't have the greatest relationship. He's not where he needs to be when Caleb's throwing the ball a lot. From what I've seen of their games, I've watched about 7 games of theirs this season. But he still does make some plays. Luther Burns has been phenomenal every time he's been on the field. So I'm actually really excited to see him. TJ's playing this week, so we should be doing all right on defense. I'm really just going with Bears because they've been the hotter team, and I believe in Caleb. But I could see it going either way. I think it could also even come down to who has the ball last. It's got the potential to be a shootout. But it could also be a low-scoring game. The Packers troll all the time. The Bears troll all the time. This could be a 3-0 finish. Anything's really possible with these two teams. But I'm going to root for the Bears because I want the Bears to win.
Fair enough. All right, well, I'm going to move on to Texans at Chiefs. Texans, they have been hot lately. Their defense been maybe one in all of the NFL. I think the Browns maybe have a shout in that argument, but the Texans have played unbelievable. They've been able to find ways to win in all varieties of ways of late. The Chiefs, on the other hand, have found ways to lose in all types of different ways, pretty much putting themselves in the brink of missing the playoffs. This many weeks out. I think it's hard to say that they're dead until they're dead, officially. But I certainly believe the Texans are they have to win this game. I think they certainly have the firepower on both sides of the ball to do enough to win this game, as
Yeah.
they've been doing a number of times recently. So I look for the Texans to win this one. I look for Woody Marks and Nick Chubb to basically control the clock, win the time of possession battle for the Texans in this one, and for them to have to pass as necessary to be able to get chunk plays, to be able to get first downs when they get things like penalties, or when the Chiefs do stack the box. They do have the personnel to be able to get those types of plays. Whether that's over the top, whether that's crosses over the middle. You have Dalton Schultz. You have Jaden Higgins. You have Nico Collins, who can be a possession and wide receiver one if the Chiefs do get sloppy and allow that to happen. Although they are typically a good passing defense, um, so I just look for the Texans to be able to get what they need offensively out of this game, and for them to have a very very good game defensively, and one that kind of closes the door on the Chiefs season.
Yeah, I mean, Will Anderson and Ogunjobi, not Ogunjobi, but Hoot Totot, whatever you want to call him over there, and then Darius
Hunter.
Danielle Hunter. Like they just gonna they can feast in this game. If they do, they're gonna win the game. Chiefs wise, I mean, lots of good weapons over there, but if they can't run the ball, they can't win this game. You have to be able to run the ball, and the Texans don't let you run the ball. They don't let you pass the ball. They're going to show zero respect for the Chiefs running backs. They're not very good at all. This is like, honestly, as crazy as this is to say, I know that they played the Bills. I know that they played the Ravens. I know that they played many good teams, but I think this is the absolute hardest matchup for the Chiefs, because they're going to be very, very one-dimensional in this game, and not by choice, but just that's how good this defense is. I think that the Texans honestly could win this game, and I would actually prefer, I know this sounds crazy, but I would prefer the Chiefs to win, just to keep the Texans down in the win-loss column, because they're the one team that can jump us, that's outside looking in at this point. So yeah, I mean, if they end the Chiefs season, I'm happy. If they lose, I'm happy either way, from a selfish perspective. But it'd be fun to see Mahomes get rocked a couple times. I'm not gonna lie. He's had a rough season though. I am starting to feel for the guy, but not enough that I want him to make the playoffs.
Hear that. All right, so next up we got Eagles at Chargers. I like the Eagles in this one. Justin Herbert hurt his wrist last week, had to have surgery during the course of the week. Is hopeful to play in this one. I don't think that spell is very good. Given the fact that the Eagles have a very good defense. They have struggled at times against the pass this season. They have struggled at times their offense to keep the ball and keep the defense off the field and keep them rested. But I don't think that that's going to be a huge factor in this one. They are typically very good against the run. They were not last week, which is very stereotypical. There's been about one or two other games. One of those being when Jordan Davis was out and Javonte Williams got them in the first Cowboys matchup, and then you also had Scadaboo having a 3 touchdown game against them on Thursday night when they played the Giants as well. But really, aside from that, they've been very good against the run this year, and so I look for them to be able to shut down the combination of Omarion Hampton and Kamani Vidal. And if they can get after Justin Herbert, which I do expect that they're going to be able to with Jalen Phillips, and guys like that, in addition to the Jordan Davises, the Jalen Carters of the world. I think that they are going to be able to create enough havoc to be able to keep the Chargers limited in this game. Keep them to somewhere around 20 points. And I think Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, they've been playing well enough, and that chemistry has been building enough. Where if anyone else contributes, that being a Dallas Goddard, that being a Devontae Smith, that being a Saquon Barkley, that they're going to be able to win this game. And I do think that they're going to be able to find a contribution from somewhere. Just given the fact that they really need this game, if they want to have any kind of good seed in the NFC, the way that the Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, Packers, Bears have all been playing.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. The only thing that you did make a mistake on was Jalen Carter's out for the next couple weeks. He got surgery on both shoulders this week. I forgot to bring that up to you. It's just to maintain healthiness. It's nothing that's season ending. It will definitely be there for the playoffs. They made that very clear when they released that press announcement on Friday. But I get the lovely ability to talk about the Chargers. Justin Herbert is still very questionable. So I'm going to pick the Eagles in this game based on whether he plays or he doesn't play. I think it's pretty crazy to send him out there against the Eagles, but every game counts right now at this point for them because they're in the playoffs right now, so they have to keep winning. But I don't think it's going to be enough against the Eagles defense this week. I think even without Jalen Carter, they should be fine. The offense has been good on the passing attack the last couple weeks over there for the Eagles. The Chargers offense has been pretty stale besides the last week with Vidal. Herbert didn't do much though. I know Quentin Johnston's slowed down a lot. He got a touchdown last week that saved his fantasy day, but I don't know. I feel like the Chargers are just getting worse and worse every week. Unfortunately, their injury list is pretty much everyone at this point has been hurt on that team for at least a game or two, and they're still missing both their tackles. They have a guard out now. It's just a very scary season for Herbert if he's out there, I think. But yeah, I'm just going to go with the Eagles. Chargers defense is still really good, so it has to be respected. They haven't lost much on that side of the ball, but the offense is just dead.
Agreed.
But now we have the lovely ability to talk about the Bills and Bengals. So for Bills fans, we've lost Terrell Bernard this week, Joey Bosa, James Palmer, AJ Epinesa, and Dalton Kincaid is going to try to play, he says. He's not playing until next week, in my opinion. He was going to try to play last week. So, yeah, I don't know. Man's made of glass. I really wanted him to play, though. This game's really going to come down to if the Bills can run the ball all over the Bengals. If not, Terrell Shavers better be ready to have one of those big games again because nobody else has been doing nothing. Dalton Kincaid being hurt is killing us on the passing game. And James Palmer being out. He was our best wide receiver before he got hurt. If you're, I don't know if you watched that Atlanta game, but he was already at like 60 yards before he went down at the beginning of the second quarter with that ankle injury. He was looking to have himself a day. Keon had a bounce back. I can't even say it was a bounce back game. He caught a touchdown. He had 4 yards. I'm not calling that a comeback game. Defensively, though, we're very healthy in the secondary. The front seven is very hurt. The linebackers are very hurt. But I'm not too worried about not having Terrell Bernard because we do have Matt Milano back there, and we have Dorian Williams, and he has been playing better than Terrell Bernard has played all season. So looking good there. It's just, can we get to Joseph Burrow? Their offensive line is bad. Our pass rush is bad right now with all our injuries. I need Groot to have the game of his life. I need him to get back into the sack department. Sucks not having Bosa or Epinesa this week. But, whatever it takes to win, I'm going to go with the Bills because I pick the Bills every week, no matter what, no matter who we play. As far as the Bengals go, I think the last 2 weeks their defense has been better, but I think that's an outlier from playing a struggling Ravens offense and an exhausted Patriots. And also, I think the defense tried to play as good as possible with Joe Burrow coming back. I don't think they'll be able to keep it up, even though we have a lot of injuries. I still feel like our team is still really good, and we have James Cook. And we have Cook. We have Cook, and Cooks. And Josh Allen can run the ball. So, I mean, we have no excuses. We can't lose. The Bengals did get T. Higgins back as of officially yesterday. He cleared protocol. Well, technically Friday, but
Yes, good stuff on the Bills there. Yeah, I think this game is very, very close. I have a lot of reasons in me to say that the Bengals may win this game, but I think that the Bills have to win this game. I value our friendship and our co-host, dynamic here. So I will go with the Bills, uh, and I'll take them to win this game. I'll take it to be a James Cook special. I'll take it to be a James Cook 125, 2 touchdown game from him, and probably Josh Allen getting at least one on the ground, and probably like 60-ish yards. As well. I think it's going to be like a rushing bonanza. I think it may be very well be snowy, whether it's snowing during the game or snow, on the ground in the stadium when it
nope.
happens. So
The field's clean and tarped.
Yeah.
I was watching. I can watch the Bills Stadium at any time I want. There's a channel on YouTube.
Fair enough. All right. Well, nevertheless, I think that the Bills are going to squeak this one out. James, do you have anything else for us before we bid everyone?
Yeah, I'm gonna give my hottest of hot takes here.
Go ahead.
I think the Bills win comfortably by 10. I just think that we have been so focused the last couple weeks. I think that things are turning around, and I think our defense is going to look good. I mean, it's been good even with injuries. Everything's been pretty solid. I think this is our year, man. I really do. I think we're going to get healthy going into the playoffs, and I think we can pull this off, especially with the Chiefs not there. We own the Ravens. The only team that really, truly scares me is the Colts because they're running back in the AFC. I'm calling it. It's got to be our year. If not now, when? This is the easiest year, looking like it at least. If the playoffs were to hold the way they were right now, Josh Allen has the most wins in the playoffs by far. Lamar is not a playoff quarterback. I hate to say it, but it's true. He chokes very hard. I mean, and at the end of the day, you can't even blame the last 3 losses to the Kansas City Chiefs on Josh Allen. It's been his defense. The dude's put up 3 touchdowns or more in each game. And I'm really sick of people blaming Josh Allen for everything. Like this season in general, understandable. He hasn't played the greatest, but at the same time, he has to be superhero Josh right now with the way the offense is designed, and not picking anybody up. And you know what? I rather have superhero Josh than have nothing. And I think that turnovers are the most overrated stat in the league, especially if your defense isn't giving up points off of it. It doesn't really matter then. And we may have a lot of turnovers, but we're not costing ourselves a lot of points in that department. So yeah, that's where I'm at. There's my hot take. I'm pretty much done talking about that.
All right. Well, with that, we'll wish everyone a great Sunday. Enjoy the games, and we will catch you on Monday for the Week 14 recap.
Yes, and we'll have some new games, some more fun, and carry on our weekly traditions. of trying to make Brian trying to make James freak out over Keep 4 Cut 4 and all the other fun stuff. What was your favorite part of the podcast today?
My favorite part of the podcast today was probably our Keep 4 Cut 4. Although I really did enjoy the beer prices and giving you the fifth highest or fifth lowest, excuse me, and having you try to guess that. You telling me that Indianapolis you did not believe is in the Midwest. Yeah.
It's not. You know what? Lee, in the comment sections, tell Brian he's wrong or right, because I think he's wrong. I'm about to call my brother, the teacher, and ask him, is that considered that? It's not even on the West Coast. It's not Midwest. Like, what are you doing here? But that's besides the point. My favorite part of the podcast this week was definitely Keep 4 Cut 4 too, because I could just see you sweating and hoping that Revis was going to be there. I almost took him off and was going to give you a different person to be mean, but I can't cheat the system. It was a lot of fun as well. I think that's my favorite thing.
I put my claim down. I said that he was going to be on that list, that I was going to leave a spot for him, and I was right 100%. Yes.
All right. Well, we'll be signing off here now. It was a fun pod. We'll see you Monday for the review show, and then we'll go from there. Till next time, folks.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.
And check out all the socials.